Hello beloveds, my name is Zara Wolf and I'm lighting the path to the light within you. When I say that, I mean in the way of providing you information, support and guidance wherever you are along your journey. Today I'd like to share some information about Neptune as it's going retrograde on the 22nd of June. So it will station for 24 hours at 18 degrees and 43 minutes in Pisces, prior to retrograding through until the 27th of November this year. Now when we look at Neptune, we are looking at a transpersonal planet. It's one of the out of planets, and transpersonal planets, it means that it encompasses generations, as with say Saturn or Venus, who only have 6 to 7 year transits through one zodiac sign. Neptune actually takes 14 years to transit through one single zodiac. Now it entered into Aries in April of 2011, and so we're coming up to that 10-year mark, and it will remain in Pisces through until the 30th of March 2025. So we have a lot of time still, now that if you're just coming into awareness of it like myself, we still have time to learn how to deal with this energy, and by doing so through understanding the planet in itself and what this planet rules. So Neptune is actually the Roman god of the sea, and now in Greek mythology it's Poseidon, and this is where Neptune gets its glyph of the trident and the upside down cross. And so the trident is representative of the mind, body and spirit, I believe, from memory, and it is the grounding down of those into the physical plane, which is represented by the upside down cross. Now Neptune rules our pineal gland, which it is the higher octave of the esoteric side of things, the mystical, the illusions, like the dreams, altered states of consciousness, time travel, dimensional travel like astral travel, mental health, drugs, ayahuasca, peyote, marijuana. I think it was in like the 70s when it was last in Pisces, and that's when everybody started smoking marijuana, you know, like through Woodstock days, I guess. However, the Neptune also rules things like the film industry, mental health, our ideals, our inner worlds and realms, also empathic and psychic abilities and stimuli, so very sensitive to external perceptions, and also very perceptive, very likely to suffer disillusionment. So when we look to our natal birth charts, where Neptune is residing, so the house as well as the sign, this is going to be areas of which that we do have to sacrifice and learn to surrender, and also it is the aspects of our inner worlds that we are going to look at from a higher perspective. So because Neptune does rule the other ideals and mystics and other worlds and other realms, it's very easy for us with strong Neptunian placements to fall under disillusionment and confusion and hazy cognitive and logical functioning, etc. With a healthy Neptunian placement, and when we are aware, when our Neptunian placement is in balance, we tend to like not overindulge in things, and we take care of our bodies and our minds in a much more balanced and, I guess, fluid way. So we'll be more likely to meditate more, or do yoga, or dance, or, you know, be really in touch and have a deep respect for our bodies, you know. So with Neptune going retrograde, it's going to make it a little bit easier to integrate the esoteric, mystical, spiritual side of things, you know, and aspects of self which are going to be discovered over the course of the next period of this retrograde. And this is for your own spiritual life path, and also a deep and collective introspection. So the Neptunian energy is going to afford us somewhat clarity on what our soul truths are, as they will come from a higher or macro perspective on our inner worlds and beliefs, and show us how they are reflected in our physical realities via the people, places and events, situations that we experience in our day-to-day lives. Now, since we know that Neptunian energies and Neptune alone is of other worlds, it was in 1846 when it was first observed, and then not until 1890 when it was put under the microscope, so to speak. And this is simultaneously in the same era of time in which cameras were invented. So Neptune and Neptunian energies do really rule the film industry and the creative aspects of illusions, so magic and things like this, yes? So where over this period of time of Neptune being retrograde, we've got to really look at, where do we escape to? What do we rely upon in order to escape our realities? Now, Neptune is also, it's represented by the Hanged Man in the major arcana in the Tarot. Now, this Hanged Man is very much, he's upside down, hanging by his feet, and this energy is that of new, fresh, different perspectives. So it's a reversed or a flipped or a reflective energy on the perspectives that we hold on our reality. And where it is based in your natal chart, excuse me, is going to be where you seek that new experience and new perspective and greater understanding, and you'll be drawn to revise those ideals, belief systems, and look for a new higher point of view during this time. So I'll link below in the description box. I will link a free astrology site where you can go and put your date and time of birth and place of birth, and you can find out where your Neptune is in your natal chart. And that will give you a deeper understanding. I will, because also included in the blog is the house placements, so you can look through that and have a look at my intuitive messages for the house placements of Neptune retrograde for this period of time. And now Neptune is the ruling sign of Pisces, which is also represented in the major arcana as the High Priestess, which is the psychic of the Tarot. So if you have, say, your Neptune's in your 12th house, which is also ruled by Pisces, this is like where you're a natural born psychic or medium, you know, like you easily see spirits. You may have seen ghosts as a child or spirit as a child, being able to see people's auras and feel energies. So being of a deep feeling body, Neptunian energies is questioning us all the time as to what is real. What is our reality and what do we fantasize and create in our minds as to what our reality is, whether or not it's a wishing or a dreaming or a fantasy. It really opens us up to our empathic and sensitive perceptions of our environment, of people and places, and basically looks at the dimensional loopholes, like a world within worlds is what I entitled this, and that is because Neptune is of all realms. It's not ignoring the duality consciousness. It simply is using the duality consciousness as a point in which to appreciate the collective consciousness and the unity consciousness of us being all one. And I really, in studying this Neptune and its astrological implications, I guess, I can see where it has physically manifested in my own life. So for example, for example, with my Neptune placement is in my 6th house. So the 6th house is Virgo, and the 6th house placement with Neptune is where our health resides. So this manifested for me personally when I developed epilepsy when I was in primary school after having a severe bump to the head a few months prior. I fell from a very great height, and so my Neptunian placement affected me in that way. And then also later on in my life when I had an unhealthy Neptunian energy, so I overindulged, and through a lot of heartbreak and hurt I wanted to escape. So 2010, 2011, when it's pretty funny that it lines up, that was when I had a termination. And this plummeted me after a week after the operation. This plummeted me into binge drinking, beyond binge drinking, and 6.5 years of that. So that Neptunian placement really set the blueprint for my having problems with alcohol. And other people such as Amy Winehouse, she also had Neptune in her 6th house as well. I can't think of anybody else to give an example to, but I'm pretty sure if I did some research I'd be able to dig up a whole bunch of people who overdosed or died at a young age from implications from drugs. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find a whole bunch of them with Neptune in their 6th house. So that's a little bit more about me. But anyways, going back to Neptune, from a quantum physics level, this is where quantum physics shows us that our reality cannot not be affected by the observer. So it goes back to that saying about, so if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, the statement from physics of that explains that reality cannot be experienced. That statement explains the reality cannot be experienced, nor can it not be affected by the observer, by the presence of the observer. This would imply that no, the tree doesn't make a sound. If no one's there to observe it and be witness to it, does it make a sound? It implies no, is the answer. So when we are looking at the more negative aspects of Neptune and the potentiality of this Neptune retrograde, I would really urge you and encourage you not only to check it out in your own natal chart to see where it is, I would also highly encourage you to dive into those other realms that have sort of been nudging you a little bit, and you just think they're too far out there or they're too crazy, and see what you uncover for yourself. But also I would really encourage you, if you've had past issues like myself with depression, anxiety, suicidal narratives and thoughts and feelings, I really encourage you to reach out to myself if you need support. This is why I am here. My services are as a guide and a coach, but more a guide and a mentor for people who need that little bit of extra support surrounding what's coming into their reality. Okay, that's why I'm here. So I want you to take care of your mental health. I want you to keep grounded, and I think I said it in a week 23 blog or week 24 blog. Please go back and check those out too, because they're both very heavily based around mental health. I want you to get a mental health regime in place, and I want you to really start taking control back as much as you can from being thrown around by your internal world. And you may think that I say that flippantly. I do not, because I myself still have to do this. And when Neptune squared the Virgo moon on the weekend of June 6th through to 8th, I think it was, that weekend was horrendous. I had never felt such depths of depression or anxiety, or I even had suicidal narratives popping in and out of my head again, and that has not happened since 2016, when I started sobering up, and taking back control of my mental health and my life. So thank you so much. I hope that this helps and gives you a little bit of insight into Neptune. And please check out my website, www.zarawolf.com. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram, and please reach out and connect. I offer a complimentary discovery call for my coaching clients, and so if you need some support, please reach out. I would love to help you, and if I can't help you, I'm pretty sure I know someone who would be able to. So I'm all about it being a great fit. I'm not about just getting you on board, yeah? I want the best for you, yeah? So yeah, check out the links below, and please stay safe and grounded, and be kind to yourself during this Neptune retrograde period, okay? Thank you so much for tuning in, beloveds. Have a wonderful day. Bye.